What's up, man? I know y'all see the title, Keith Thurman versus who, and Wilder and Fury news. Now, I want to talk about Wilder and Fury first. Wilder and Fury, there's been some, news out there that Fury might pull out the fight, and Fury and Wilder, they both came back and refuted that, Fury is going to pull out the fight. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if Tyson Fury pulls out the fight simply because I just don't think Tyson Fury is ready. I mean, anybody with any boxing head, knows that this man is not ready to get in the ring. So if he pull out the fight, that'll be good for me because we may get to see the Errol Spence versus Mikey Garcia fight because Showtime said they don't want to put two pay-per-view fights on so close, and the only reason why they possibly pushing the Errol Spence versus Mikey Garcia fight to next year is because of the Tyson Fury and the Deontay Wilder fight. So if the Deontay Wilder fight and Tyson Fury fight is canceled, I'm not gonna be mad at it. A lot of people, are saying that they're gonna be mad at Fury if he pulls out the fight. I'm not gonna be mad at Fury because I really think Fury has some mental issues, man. I really think the man have some mental issues there. There's and it's just too many variables with Tyson Fury. Yes, before the whole you know blowing up in weight and all that stuff, he was a pretty good boxer who I thought was up there with Deontay Wilder and Anthony Joshua as far as that's a pick 'em fight. Any of those matchups, you can put those guys in the hat and you can pull out a fighter, and you wouldn't go wrong. But that's before Tyson Fury went through what he went through. Now, after he went through what he went through, I can no longer pick him against anybody in the top five at heavyweight. So if he pull out the fight, I'm not gonna be mad at him. To me, that'd be better for Deontay Wilder because I just don't think Deontay Wilder was gonna get any credit or minimum credit for beating Tyson Fury. Because it can go either way. If Tyson Fury, what if Tyson Fury survive and go to 12 rounds, fight a pretty good fight, but lose on the scorecards? Even if he loses a unanimous decision, they're gonna say, "Well, wow, man, how can that dude go 12 rounds with you? He been off of boxing for like 3 years, and the guys he fought, wasn't really credible fighters to prepare for the fight. The two tune-up fights that he fought wasn't even credible. Then, if he knock out Tyson Fury in 3 rounds, people gonna say, well, he should have knocked him out. He came off a 3-year layoff and blew up in weight and all this crazy stuff. So, I would like to see Wilder just go ahead and fight somebody else at heavyweight if this fight falls through. If this fight falls through, Deontay Wilder, in my opinion, should go ahead and fight somebody else, man, and to me get a more of a credible opponent. Because if Anthony Joshua would have fought Tyson Fury, I'd be the same way against Anthony Joshua. Hell, if Dillian White tried to fight Tyson Fury at this point, I'll be getting on Dillian White. I would like to see either Deontay Wilder have a rematch with Ortiz because that was a great fight. Ortiz pushed Wilder to the limit, and it's another thing too. This is a funny thing. This is how boxing works. This is how boxing fans work too. Luis Ortiz, up until he fought Deontay Wilder, a lot of people out there were saying was putting their mouth badly on Luis Ortiz. Now I know he did fail 2 drug tests, but a lot of people wasn't really feeling Ortiz like that. Now, after he give Wilder a hard fight, everybody's saying that Luis Ortiz is the second best heavyweight. I'm trying to compute that. I'm trying to get that through my head. Why people are saying Luis Ortiz is the second best heavyweight? Is it because he pushed Deontay Wilder to the limit? And to me, Deontay Wilder get a lot of credit for beating Luis Ortiz. I don't have to say Luis Ortiz is the second best heavyweight to give Deontay Wilder a whole lot of props. But I digress on that. Man, I would like to see Deontay Wilder fight Dillian White. I would like to see him fight Dominic Brazil. Try to get Big Baby Gerald Miller in the ring. Anybody of that ilk, man, other than Tyson Fury, because it's not a good look with him and Tyson Fury. And like I said, I'm hoping Tyson Fury can pull out the fight. That will open up the door for the Earl Spence Mikey Garcia fight to be on pay per view, and we can get that fight. I think that's a compelling fight. That's a more of a compelling fight in my book. It's that's a see. While I think the Tyson Fury versus Deontay Wilder is a 80-20 fight, I look at that Mikey Garcia versus Earl Spence a 45-55 fight. I give Earl Spence 55, and I give Mikey Garcia 45 simply because Mikey Garcia is moving up in weight. And if Mikey Garcia had one, maybe two fights at welterweight, and he handled himself really, really good and kind of like dominated the two welterweights that he fought, depending on the welterweights he fought, then I would say it's a 50-50 fight. But since Mikey Garcia never been at 147, I have to give Earl Spence, logically, I had to give Earl Spence the edge. But to me, that's a more compelling fight. So Tyson Fury, please pull out the fight. Just please pull out the fight. You need more fights anyway. You're about 3 fights away, and two of those fights have to be very solid opponents. One of those fights have to be somebody preferably in the top five or two guys in the top 10 before you. I think you're ready. But like I said, if Tyson Fury think he's ready, he's a grown man. He can get in there. You know. But I want to talk about Keith Thurman. And look, I know a lot of people are down on Keith Thurman. I'm not down on Keith Thurman because to me, Keith Thurman is still the best welterweight. I mean, because look at it like this: Keith Thurman been off for about what, a year and 5 months, a year and 6 months. What kind of moves has Earl Spence made? What kind of moves has Terrence Crawford made other than beating Jeff Horn? And Terrence Crawford is the dude I'm picking that can beat everybody at 147. But he has not. He had. I mean, he did move up in weight, so I give him that. He moved up in weight. He made some noise because he just got there. I'm not gonna really get on Terrence Crawford because he did make some noise. Came up, stopped. The WBO belt holder and Jeff Horn gave him his first loss and whatever. Stopped him for the first time. Of course, having his first loss and stopping him all go together. But what has Earl Spence done since Keith Thurman been out of the ring? Ocampos and Lamont Peterson. What has Danny Garcia done since Keith Thurman been out the ring? Brandon Rios. What has um, Sean Porter done since Keith Thurman been out the ring? Granados and Andre Berto. Come on, man. They, they have not done anything. So I don't see how people can knock Keith Thurman off the platform of being the number one welterweight if those guys haven't done nothing since his absence. When Keith Thurman come back, he still is the only welterweight that fought three guys in the top 10, two guys in the top 10. He's the only welterweight that fought two guys in the top 10 and beat two guys in the top 10 other than I'm trying to see who Manny Pacquiao beat. Manny Pacquiao beat Josito Lopez. I mean, not Josito Lopez. He beat Jesse Vargas, and that's it. That's it. He's Keith Thurman will be the only fighter that beat two guys in the top 10 at welterweight in Danny Garcia and Sean Porter, and he beat them back to back. So I'm not down on Keith Thurman like that. What I'm looking at is it's taking Keith Thurman a little bit too long to come back. Now he was supposed to come back early in the year. They pushed that back, and they have not talked about anything since then. Keith Thurman needs to have a fight this year. I don't think he should go a whole year without fighting. So to me, Keith Thurman's comeback fight to me should be against Jesse Vargas. Now I've been hearing some people say Josecito Lopez. I don't want him to see him fighting no Josecito Lopez. Now Keith Thurman is not in the same boat as Tyson Fury. Tyson Fury was off 3 years and going through a lot of problems. Now yes, Keith Thurman coming off a couple injuries, but it's not like he's been out the ring 3 years. Keith Thurman get in the training camp, have a nice solid training camp. He should be ready to fight a welterweight in the top 10. To me, Keith Thurman shouldn't be going and fighting nobody in the top 15 or the top 20. He should be fighting somebody in the top 10. And he should have two comeback fights versus two guys in the top 10, in my opinion. He should not go outside of the top 10 because he's not that far removed from boxing action as Tyson Fury was. Now, I understand Tyson Fury fighting the guys he fought, and getting ready to get back in the saddle. But Keith Thurman, that's my dude. Keith Thurman's still my dude. I still like Keith Thurman. I still think him and Crawford is the more compelling fight, the more competitive fight between those two. I don't think it's Earl Spence that's going to be the more competitive fight for Crawford because of the things that Keith Thurman can do in the ring. Keith Thurman can move around the ring. Keith Thurman can fight off his back foot, and Keith Thurman can fight coming forward. Crawford can do both of those things. You get two guys in the ring that can multitask like that and do different things. You gotta now. It can be a boring fight. I think Earl Spence versus any one of those two guys will be a more exciting. I think Earl Spence versus Danny Garcia is exciting. Earl Spence versus Sean Porter is exciting. Earl Spence versus Keith Thurman is exciting, and Earl Spence versus Terrence Crawford is exciting simply because Earl Spence is going to come forward. Earl Spence is looking to knock you out. Earl Spence is looking to try to knock you out. And in my opinion, Earl Spence has one way of fighting very effective, and that's coming forward. Now he does it very well. Take nothing from him. He goes to the body. He got a nice hook on him. He got a decent jab, but to me, he doesn't fight good going on. He doesn't fight good going backwards. Not a lot of fighters, and I'm not gonna just put that on Earl Spence. A lot of fighters don't fight going backwards effectively. Not. It's not a lot of guys I can say put them in the ring and they can fight off their back foot and they can win a fight. Keith Thurman can fight off his back foot and win a fight. It'll be a decision, but he can win a fight. Crawford can win a fight going backwards on his back foot and win a fight. That's why I picked those two guys to beat Earl Spence, because those two guys do not have to capitulate to what Earl Spence is doing. They don't have to come forward to beat Earl Spence. Now, I believe times in the fight they can go forward and handle their own, but they don't have to necessarily go forward the whole fight to beat Earl. Danny Garcia and now Sean Porter can be a little bit of a mixed bag, but I think Earl Spence can beat Sean Porter because I don't think Sean Porter is as skilled as Crawford or Keith, and I think Sean Porter smothers a lot of his punches, and that's what gets Sean Porter. If Sean Porter understood distance better, and if Sean Porter cannot fall in and smother his punches, I would say Sean Porter would be a handful. He's still a handful for anybody, but I'm saying he will be picked to beat anybody at welterweight and be the favorite over anybody because of his aggression. Because Sean Porter, one thing about Sean Porter, he's gonna hit you in the side, he's gonna hit you in the hip, he's gonna hit you in the leg, he's gonna headbutt you, he's gonna do what Sean Porter's just gonna rough you up. He's just a rough house type of guy. Now, I don't necessarily like his style because, like I said, it seems like he don't understand space. Like Sean Porter is good for the first four or five rounds. He has pretty good technique for the first 4 or 5 rounds. It doesn't seem like he just gradually gets a little bit more sloppier and sloppier and sloppier. Like the Granados fight. If he could have dictated space better or understood space better, he could have knocked Granados out. But the fact that he was falling in and smothering a lot of his punches. Now, Granados is tough. Granados can handle himself. He's been around the block. But Sean Porter, by Granados moving up like that, Sean Porter should have got rid of him, man. At least in the later rounds. He should have got rid of him. But, like I said, it's something about his spacing. And Sean Porter is naturally, like, you can tell that he's a football player because his feet are programmed for different. It's not programmed for boxing, really. His feet doesn't look settled enough to even help him dictate the pace because his feet are constantly like hyper moving. You see that stutter step he be doing? That's some football type stuff. I'm not getting on him, but that's like some football type stuff. Like Sean Porter he's not a natural boxer. He's not a natural boxer. He looked like somebody that's a really good athlete that somebody molded, and now he was able to, by his power and his strength and his mobility in the ring as far as getting to you, he's able to beat guys. But to me, he's not going to beat the top level guys that can handle themselves and that can fight off their back foot. Like I said, Keith Thurman already beat him. But Terrence Crawford will beat him, would outclass him, and him and Earl will be a good fight. But I know Sean Porter is strong, but Earl Spence is strong, and I seen Sean Porter get in the ring with somebody strong before. I seen him in the ring with Carol Brook, and Carol Brook was strong. It seemed like he doesn't when he doesn't have the size and the power factor over you, he can't manhandle you like he wants to. He couldn't manhandle Brook. He wouldn't be able to manhandle Earl. Now, he will have some successes against Earl. I think the fight, I don't see Earl stopping Sean Porter by no means. I don't see him stopping him. I see it going to a decision. I see Earl win a split decision. But like I said, Earl will beat him, but Earl will have a hard time beating Crawford and Keith Thurman. And a lot of people are like, well, Keith Thurman's scared to fight him. How you gonna say Earl Spence can't beat Keith Thurman? Because when I look at the styles, and trust me, Keith Thurman is not scared of Earl Spence. These guys have been in the ring with just about anybody and everybody that's boxing right now today, and no, they're not scared of each other. Now they may be nervous because they can look at a guy's style. I can tell you this: fighters do look at other fighters' style, and they can be leery of fighting a certain person's style. But like I told y'all, guys that can fight off their back foot effectively at the highest level, they are not scared of fighting. Scared of fighting Earl Spence, because Earl Spence is gonna come right in their wheelhouse. He's gonna do basically what they want him to do. They want him to. They want him to come forward, because now they can work their back foot game plan, and then, when Earl Spence start losing a little steam, then they can start coming forward. See, that's why I'm telling about people about boxing, man, how boxing works, man. It's all about styles. Styles make fights. Some people, I know people say, no, styles don't make fights. No, styles make fights. If you watch boxing long enough, you will understand how can Marquez and Pacquiao have a thriller, but Marquez versus Mayweather is not a thriller, and Mayweather versus Pacquiao, that was just a boring ass fight right there. My fault, part of my language, but that was just a boring fight. I don't even know what that was. But anyway, and then you look at Muhammad Ali versus Frazier. Those two have a clash of wars, and then you see George Foreman versus Frazier, and George Foreman handles Frazier and knock him out in both fights in the first and second round. And in the first fight in the rematch, he knocked him out in the first, second round. And then Ali handles George Foreman, because styles make fights. And what Earl Spence tries to do, he tries to walk you down and pressure you until you break. That's what he does. He walks you down and try to pressure you until you break. I don't see that happening with Keith when Keith is right, and I definitely don't see that happening with Terrence Crawford. Terrence Crawford is just too skilled. Like, he's just really too skilled. And like I said, I want to see Keith Thurman come back and fight two guys in the top 10, and then he can probably fight the winner of the winner of Danny and Sean Porter is promised to Earl Spence. So if Earl Spence wins the fight, then Keith Thurman gonna have to fight Earl Spence for two titles, for the IBF and the WBC. So I wouldn't mind if that happened. I wouldn't mind, but like I said, I hope these guys don't try to drag that fight out, because if Danny Garcia beat Sean Porter, it's already going to be at the end of the year. So we're not going to see Earl Spence versus either one of those guys until next year. But to me, it should be the summer of next. It should be the spring, man. It should be March or April of next year. Just in case, if the fight is close or whatever, like, I wouldn't be surprised. I'm telling you, I wouldn't be surprised if Danny Garcia versus Sean Porter is a draw. And if that's a draw, now we got another fight. You see what I mean? See, that's why I'm calling for the Terrence Crawford versus Earl Spence fight immediately. I know a lot of people out there calling for the Deontay Wilder versus Joshua fight. Why y'all not doing the same thing with this Earl Spence versus Terrence Crawford fight? And I'm putting the onus on both of them. These two guys need to tell their promoters or tell whoever's running the show, I want that guy next. Now I have seen interviews with Terrence Crawford saying that he want to fight Earl Spence, and Earl Spence saying he want to fight Terrence Crawford. But you hear both of those guys say it has to make sense and all this stuff, and then you hear um, Earl Spence say Terrence Crawford's on the wrong side of the block. Now, Terrence Crawford has already been on that side of the block because he fought two Al Hammond fighters, like I said, and John Molina and that other guy that Terrence Crawford fought. So he's been on that side of the block before. He's knocked on the door, beat two guys on that side. So I want to see him knock on the door and ask for Earl Spence. And I expect Earl Spence to answer the call. But it's a lot of Earl Spence fans or supporters of Earl Spence that are not thrilled about Terrence Crawford versus Earl Spence. A lot of people changing their Felix Diaz. Terrence Crawford fought Felix Diaz and he fought John Molina. Both of those are Al Hammond fighters. Look it up. But it's a lot of Earl Spence supporters, man. They're not happy about this Terrence Crawford fight. See, they recognize that one, Terrence Crawford got many ways to fight. Front foot, back foot. He can switch. So it doesn't matter. And they see that Terrence Crawford is a real threat to Earl Spence. And all of a sudden we getting back to this Cold War thing about Terrence Crawford, Bob Arum is not going to let the fight happen and all this stuff, man. And then people tell me that Earl Spence don't have a boss. And that's true. Earl Spence doesn't have a boss. Earl Spence doesn't have a TV network that he's signed with. So Earl Spence can go to a different network and fight Terrence Crawford. He can go to ESPN and fight Terrence Crawford. He can go to HBO. I guess they both. Well, Bob Arum left HBO, but Earl Spence can go to any network and fight. Any network and fight. Why don't you just sign a one fight deal with Bob Arum, fight Terrence Crawford? Hell, he's not even signed with a network. He's not even signed with a promoter. Sign like a 2-fight deal with 2 or 3 fight deal with Bob Arum, and fight Terrence Crawford. Because if you fight and beat Terrence Crawford, guess what? You get the WBO title. Bob Arum have no qualms with you going over there and fighting Danny Garcia, the winner of Danny Garcia and Sean Porter. Because if you beat Terrence Crawford, why in the hell would Bob Arum keep you away from Danny Garcia versus Sean Porter? He'll hurry up and put you in the ring with one of those two guys to get that WBC title. He wouldn't hold you from fighting them. He wouldn't hold you from fighting Keith Thurman. Bob Arum already thinks that Earl Spence is the best. Well, it's probably he probably think Earl Spence is on the same par of talent and same par with Terrence Crawford, because he already tried to sign Earl Spence. So why not go sign a 2-fight deal with Bob Arum, 3-fight deal with Bob Arum? I mean, I don't look, man. Whoever's gonna get you the fights and get you to put you in a position to be undisputed like you want to be. I don't care if he go with Eddie Hearn. I don't care who he go with. As long as he get the fights, he shouldn't be concerned who he go with. As long as he get the fights. Now, if he doesn't want to do that, then I guess they can hide behind the excuse that Bob Arum is holding up the fight. Because, yeah, I know I heard Bob Arum say that the fight has to make sense and all this stuff, but he's supposed to talk like that. He's a promoter. Terrence Crawford is his investment. So, yes, he's going to talk like that. But if Terrence Crawford make it known to him that I really want that fight, I want that fight next, Like I'm not letting Terrence Crawford off the hook either. Terrence Crawford got to tell that man. He probably already told him, "Hey, I want that. I want that fight. I want that fight." Earl Spence probably told Al Heyman he wants that fight. Now, to the people that say Earl Spence got a lot of options, Earl Spence got a lot of options. But the options that y'all are talking about are the people that y'all saying are scared of Earl Spence. So how do Earl Spence have a lot of options if Danny Garcia is scared of him, if Sean Porter is scared of him, if Keith Thurman's scared of him? That's what I'm trying to figure out. That means he doesn't have a lot of options if those three guys scared of him. And those are three guys that got that have the avenue to two of the titles. So that means if Earl Spence cannot fight anybody on his own side of the street, which he has not been able to fight any one of those guys yet, y'all do realize that Earl Spence has never been in the ring with Keith Thurman. I don't care what happened, what situation happened. He's never been in the ring with him. He's never been in the ring with Danny Garcia. He's never been in the ring with Sean Porter, and they on the side of his street. And he said he said that Terrence Crawford is on the wrong side of the street. It seemed like Terrence Crawford is on the same side of the street as Danny Garcia, Sean Porter, and Keith Thurman, because he can't get those fights either. So what is Earl Spence going to do if those three guys don't fight him? Who he's going to fight at welterweight? He's going to fight Josecito Lopez. He's going to go ahead and fight Jesse Vargas. He's going to fight Amir Khan, which, I like the Amir Khan fight. I like Amir Khan to step in there and fight up in there. I always forget about Amir Khan. But that's a pretty decent fight. But that's not the fight people want to see. People want to see Earl Spence finally get his hands on Keith Thurman, Danny Garcia, and Sean Porter. I'm saying the people that's on PBC. It's hard enough for Earl Spence to get fights with the guys on his side of the street. So if he don't get those fights, what he gonna do? Move up to 154? Move up to 154 and fight some of those champions up there? Because he says he walks around at 185 pounds. So if he walk around 185 pounds, he's a big guy. He should be able to go to 154 with ease, like easy. Now I hear the whole Canelo versus Earl Spence thing. This is my take on it. I think Triple G is going to beat Canelo. So, but him and Earl Spence still can fight later down the line. But I don't see that fight happening either, because Oscar is going to want Earl Spence to sign he may want Earl Spence to sign a multi-fight deal, because he wants Earl Spence. De La Hoya made it no secret that he believes Earl Spence is the best welterweight. Now, the carrot for Earl Spence to fight Canelo, and because Canelo will bring in a lot of money for Earl, and Earl Spence will make his biggest purse probably versus Canelo. The carrot is going to be De La Hoya is going to ask him to sign a multi-fight deal with Golden Boy if he wants that fight, that Canelo fight. That's the carrot he's going to dangle out there in front of Earl Spence. Because one of these promoters or one of these networks, they're trying to get a multi-fight deal with Earl Spence. Because make no mistake about it, despite all Earl Spence, despite the flaws I see in Earl Spence, he's an exciting fighter, because to me, of the top three welterweights, he has the most vulnerability. He's more vulnerable in the ring than Keith Thurman and then Terrence Crawford, simply because of his style, which makes him TV friendly, which makes him fan friendly. And the fact of the matter is, he tries to come in and knock you out in every fight. I do appreciate that. I do like that. I like that in Earl Spence. He's an exciting fighter. He's an exciting fighter. He has an exciting style. So these TV networks, they want him. These promoters, they want him. Eddie Hearn wants him. De La Hoya wants him. Bob Arum wants him. He should make their ass bid. Pardon my language. He should make those guys bid for him. That's what I would do. Get them millions up. But if I have to say, if he had to go with one of them, I would have to say go with don't go with Eddie Hearn. Eddie Hearn don't have no welterweights, but Eddie Hearn has no problem making deals, or I don't see Eddie Hearn having no Cold War with no Bob Arum, no Cold War with Al Heyman. So Spence will still get to fight those guys, fight the fights he want to fight. And Bob Arum. I mean, he can go with Bob. He can go with Bob. Bob got. See, Bob ain't really got no welterweights. All he got is Terrence Crawford, and De La Hoya don't really got no welterweights. They say Earl Spence can box exceptionally too, but I gotta see it first. Yeah, I have to see Earl. Look, this is what I don't like to do, and this is what I learned in boxing that you cannot do. You cannot say you think somebody can do it and they haven't showed you yet, especially in a sport that has muscle memory. Like basketball, football, all these sports at the highest level, they have muscle memory. You're really not gonna at this stage of Earl Spence's life and his age, he's not gonna all of a sudden outbox a person in a way that people think he's gonna be able to outbox somebody. His greatest strength is coming forward. As soon as he, as soon as Earl Spence gets to the point to where he's feeling uncomfortable in the ring, he may be able to box for about a round or two, but as soon as he feels a little uncomfortable in the ring, he's gonna revert back to what he does, and that's coming forward, because that's your natural instinct is to do what you feel comfortable doing. You know what I mean? Like, he's not gonna go in there and have a and fight in the center of the ring and outbox Keith Thurman and Terrence Crawford. It's just not gonna happen. They can outbox him. They can box off their front foot. They can box in the pocket. They can go forward. Like I said, those are tough. Those two guys are tough, really tough fighters for Earl. And at the highest level, Earl gonna have a hard time with guys like that. Period. So, like I said, a lot of people kept on telling me that Adrian Broner can box on his toes. We never seen it. Never seen it. And I told people, your muscle memory is your muscle memory for a reason. You just don't all of a sudden change up and do something different and do it for the whole fight. You're just not gonna do it. I remember Arturo Gatti, he fought Mickey Ward, and the first fight was a war, and in that second fight he said he was gonna box. He said, I'm gonna box, I'm not gonna get into a war and all that. Soon as Mickey Ward hit him hard, he went to brawling. Because that's what he does. Yeah, he boxed for the first 2 or 3 rounds, looked good, winning the fight. Soon as Mickey Ward landed a good left hook to the body or a head, or a combination, whatever he landed, there go Arturo Gatti. He has to answer back. He got into a war. And he did what he always do to win his fights. I mean, he did what he was comfortable doing, which he thought was going to make him successful. That's what I said about Earl Spence. As soon as he get in there with Crawford, he tried to box Crawford. As soon as he see he can't outbox Crawford, which is only going to take about a round and a half, where he going to realize, I can't outbox this man. He going to start going forward. And then all Terrence Crawford going to do is do the Matador versus the Bull. I mean, yes, he will cut off the ring on Terrence Crawford somewhat, but Terrence Crawford know how to combat that. You turn the man, you hold the man at the referee, pull y'all apart. Referee pull y'all apart. Boom, you back in the center of the ring. I mean, it's obvious. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying it's going to be incredibly easy for Terrence Crawford to beat Earl Spence, but you're going to see about round 4, 5, 6 when you start getting up in there. You're gonna start seeing who's the better fighter, because at that level of fighting, which I still don't see Earl Spence as being a great fighter. Earl Spence he's a good fighter. He's a good fighter. He's talented. Obviously, you got to be talented to do what he did. So, but I see Terrence Crawford as being something different, and I see something. It's like Thomas Hearns versus Sugar Ray Leonard. I'm not saying Crawford and Crawford and Earl Spence is those two fighters. What I'm saying is this: Thomas Hearns was really, really good, really, really good fighter. Turned out to be a great fighter. But at that point, when he fought Sugar Ray Leonard, to me Sugar Ray Leonard was something different. You just seen that he was just something different. And you get that with all the great fighters. You see that De La Hoya was something different. Mike Tyson was something different. Roy Jones was something different. Mayweather was something different. Pacquiao was something different. And now I'm seeing it again. Terrence Crawford is something different. I even like Keith Thurman. Keith Thurman is really, really good. Keith Thurman is really good. Keith Thurman is a great fighter. Terrence Crawford is something different. I can't explain it. And when you see something different, it's just you can't even explain it. You can't even quantify it. You just know that that's just something. There's something different about this dude. Cause even Terrence Crawford is, and to me, Terrence Crawford is getting hit a little bit more now because he wants to get hit. Not I'm not saying because he want to get hit. It's the style that he likes to fight as far as coming forward. Devin, I haven't seen now. I seen, you know what? I seen Devin Haney spar against Shakur Stevenson. Now I'm gonna tell you why I say when I say different. I seen Shakur Stevenson as something different when they sparred. Shakur Stevenson was doing things that were so natural. He was so naturally comfortable in that sparring match with him and Devin Haney. I know it's just sparring, but Devin Haney looked like he was a half a step behind Shakur Stevenson. And that's what I mean about something different. Something different is you always a half a step behind something different. Like Floyd Mayweather, Sugar Ray, like I'm saying, Sugar Ray Leonard, them guys. People was always when they was at the top of their game, people were like a half at best, even the great fighters that fought them was half a step behind them. And that's just something I haven't seen Devin Haney enough to say he's something different. I have to see him. I seen some of his earlier fights when he was just moving up, and I seen his latest fight. He looked a little nervous, even though he got rid of the guy. He looked a little nervous in that fight in the first couple rounds. When I'm saying about something different, they don't look nervous. They're so comfortable in the ring, even at an early age. They're so comfortable in the ring that you act like they just walking in the park. That's what I mean about something different. Now, I have to see Devin Haney a little bit more to quantify that that's something different. So I don't know. We'll have to see. I know we got the Triple G Canelo fight coming up. I got Triple G winning that fight. I got Triple G stopping Canelo in the later rounds. That's how I see that fight. I see him stopping Canelo in the later rounds. Who you got in that fight, Triple G or Canelo? And who else coming up? It's some. Oh yeah, I know we got Sean Porter and Danny. I still got Danny winning that fight. Close fight, split decision to Danny Garcia. Now I hope Danny Garcia don't want to take another year off. I hope he called out Earl Spence. Earl Spence most likely gonna be in the building. It'd be good if Earl Spence get in the ring and say, man, when one of y'all gonna fight me so we can get this fight on. They say that GGG, I thought he won. I thought Triple G won the first fight as well. Who you got, Sean Porter or Danny Garcia? Now I'm gonna get up out of here. I got Danny Garcia. But like I said, I hope Tyson Fury pull out the fight. I know it's a lot of people out there that want to see this fight, that want to see Deontay Wilder win the quote-unquote lineal championship. You got Porter. That's cool. It's a 50-50 fight, man. I know a lot of people want to see Deontay Wilder win a quote-unquote lineal championship, the lineal title. But like I said, I did a video doing a timeline of the lineal champion. And to me, Tyson Fury was never... By definition, Tyson Fury was never the lineal champion because uh, Klitschko was not the lineal champion. Vladimir Klitschko was not the lineal champion, so that means Tyson Fury could not have been the lineal champion. Because, like I said, him and his brother reigned at the same time. His brother gave up the WBC title. Uh, Vladimir Klitschko did not go fight Deontay Wilder for the WBC title after Deontay Wilder knocked out Severn, which left the linealship on the table. To me, the linealship is out there floating just as well as the undisputed championship is out there floating at heavyweight. Whoever become the undisputed champion at heavyweight is going to be the lineal champion. That's going to start a new bloodline. Now go look at my earlier video. I laid out the bloodline and how it was broken and how it was reconnected, then how it was broken again, then how it was reconnected again, then how it was broken. The last lineal champion that had started his bloodline was Lennox Lewis, because he was undisputed. He was the last undisputed champion. He was the last lineal undisputed champion. And when he retired and his belts was dispersed, and the Klitschko's, both of the Klitschko brothers went to go collect the belts. They never fought each other. I never expected them to fight each other, but by them never fighting each other, we never got undisputed again, and the linealship was never re-established. Even after the Vitaly Klitschko retired, the linealship and the undisputed still was in the wind. And that was up to Vladimir Klitschko to go out there and reconnect it and start his own bloodline, and he didn't. Because when Lennox Lewis retired, he retired lineal champion and undisputed champion. He didn't get beat in the ring. So, and like I said, the definition of lineal champion you have to be undisputed as a heavyweight. And because of back in the day, starting with John L. Sullivan, because of those guys, we only had one title. We didn't have all these titles. We didn't have the WBC, WBA, IBF, WBO. Whoever won the heavyweight title bout, championship bout, was the undisputed champion, because they had no other belts. Up until the belts got dispersed after Ali got stripped of his titles. Then that's when the undisputed, that's when the belts started getting dispersed. Now then they were reconnected. Then they got dispersed again. Larry Holmes got them. Then Tyson won them in a tournament. Then Buster Douglas knocked out Tyson. Holyfield knocked out Buster Douglas, won the belts. Then after Holyfield got not got knocked out. After Holyfield got beat by Riddick Bowe threw the WBC title in the trash. Lennox Lewis picked up the WBC title at the trash. Then Lennox Lewis eventually got a piece of the title. Holyfield had a piece of the two titles or whatever. Somebody had two titles, another person had one title or whatever. They fought. It was a draw. They fought again. Lennox Lewis won. Lennox Lewis became undisputed. Lennox Lewis fought Vitaly Klitschko, won that fight, then retired. Then his belts got dispersed. The Klitschkos picked it up. They reigned together, but they were never undisputed, and then they were never lineal champion. That and because Tyson Fury beat Vladimir Klitschko, did not make him undisputed, because Wilder had the WBC title. It did not make him lineal champion, because Vladimir Klitschko never became the lineal champion, because him and his brother reigned together. We can't have two people reigning together and calling them half. You get half the linealship, I get half the linealship. That's not how it works. But I'm out of here, man. I'll be back tomorrow with another live. I'm out.